Hi, my name is Abigail Schwartz, and I just finished up my junior year at Hartwick College. At Hartwick, I am part of the Interventions for Drinking in Emerging Adults Laboratory, or IDEAL Lab, which was started by Professor William Kowalczyk. The current project our lab has taken on is a daily diary study of drinking antecedents and consequences in Oneonta, New York. Using the data from this project, I was able to quantify the relationship between frequency of drinking and certain mental health variables. And that led us to the title of Maybe Some Students Just Don't Care, the relationship between frequency of drinking and mental health outcomes. So the purpose of this research. This specific research was performed because scientific literature has indicated that drinking in college students can be associated with increases in anxiety and depression, and we were interested to see how the frequency of drinking may play a role in mental health, coping, and even substance abuse. So as for the inclusion criteria, the participants who took part in this study expressed initial interest and signed up to be called for a screening to determine if they were eligible to participate. The participants were screened over the phone to make sure that they were eligible. Following being given all of the information on the study and what they would be doing, each participant consented, and then we were able to ask the questions pertaining to the inclusion-exclusion criteria. Each participant that met the criteria had reported that they were over the age of 18, attended Hartwick College or SUNY Oneonta, which are both schools located in upstate New York. They lived inside of the 13820 or the 13861 zip codes, live independently of their parents, report drinking at least twice a month, and have had at least one binge drinking episode in the last 6 months. So a binge drinking episode would mean that it would be 5+ drinks for a female in one sitting or 6+ drinks for a male in one sitting. Those screened were also required to score below a 10 on the Center for Epidemiological Studies depression scale. And this was just because our study at Hartwick did not have the necessary professionals to deal with any situations that may arise due to depression or other mental health variables. As for our methods in completing this research, the participants who met the inclusion criteria were then invited onto Hartwick campus individually, where they took part in a 2-hour baseline session where they completed questionnaires pertaining to their drinking behavior, substance use, as well as completing the perceived stress scale, the state trait anxiety inventory, the social interaction anxiety scale, and the brief cope. With the data collected from these questionnaires, we were then able to analyze the trends between drinking frequency and the continuous variables with an ANOVA and the categorical variables with a chi-square. To do this, drink frequency was dichotomized into more, less than weekly, and binge drinking was trichotomized into more than weekly, weekly, and less than weekly. So our results indicated that participants who drank several times a week or more did not differ than those who drank once a week or less on the CESD, the SIAS-6, the STAI, and the PSS. However, they did engage in active coping less frequently than those who reported drinking once a week or less. Now, the major findings indicated in the center part of the poster these results also indicated that for trait anxiety and perceived stress, there was a trend for a quadratic relationship between frequency of binge drinking and these mental health issues. So pictured here, we can see that for both the effect of binge drinking on perceived stress and the effect of binge drinking on anxiety, there is a quadratic trend indicating that people who binge drink less than weekly and more than weekly are more likely to face less stress and anxiety than those who binge drink weekly. And that can be seen with the it's kind of a light tread line, but here and over here with the two arches and the two weekly columns being higher, statistically higher than less than weekly and more than weekly. So now, getting to the main point of all of this, like what do these results tell us? So we hypothesized, and it kind of loops back to the title, Maybe Some Students Just Don't Care, that participants who binge drink more than weekly may score low on anxiety and stress measures because they may be the students that are less concerned about their responsibilities in college, therefore less stress, less anxiety. We also hypothesized that participants who binge drink less than weekly may have less stress and anxiety because they're engaging in less maladaptive behavior. And our third hypothesis was that those who binge drink weekly may be trying to balance their concern of responsibilities as well as trying to fit in time to drink in their social life, which can ultimately lead to stress and potential mental health issues, as seen by the figure prior. So that brings us to the end of this presentation. The only other information that I did not touch on was the information located on the right-hand side of the poster, and that information basically just explains the breakdown and the different things about the students who participated, like their gender, whether or not they're involved with Greek life, athletics, etc. So thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact either myself or the principal investigator on the study, Dr. Kowalczyk, and I have included our emails below. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.